our family for Whitney. So more men is great with me. Tuesday afternoon, I finished writing this, and so I went back to my gym and I rehearsed it. And I even recorded it on my iPad and perfected it, took it back into the house, and told Amy, I got it. I think I got it. I think it's really good. It's only 14 minutes and 36 seconds. She looked at me and she said, absolutely not. No more than 8 minutes. And then she told me, and by the way, memorize it.
I did not.
So I didn't do that. Anyhow, again, thank you all for being here. Whitney graduated from high school, left to go to Georgia College, and spent 2 years there, and decided to move back home and transfer to Georgia State University, where she would finish her last 2, 3, 4, roughly 4 years of school. We were really happy to have her back. Up to that point, it was always Paige and Whitney, to the point where when Hannah was little, Amy would point at Paige and say, who's that? And Hannah would say, Paige, and she'd point at Whitney and say, who's that? And Hannah would say, Paige and Whitney. So she always thought Whitney's name was Paige and Whitney. So anyhow, Whitney moves back home, so we get a great chance to get to know her by herself. And what I thought I would do is share some of her qualities with no particular order. The first one is loyalty. That's not sad. That's not going to happen. I'm not. That's the one part that there's a shot that I'll cry, but not a chance. If you thought that was happening, that's not happening. Every morning, I would get up. I do get up first, and I go and I eat breakfast, and all of a sudden, Whitney shows up now every morning at breakfast. She walks out every morning from her room, no contacts in, so she hits the same wall every morning. That's routine. Runs into the wall. She has got on a double extra large Ohio State t-shirt that used to be mine. It gets better. It gets better, and she has on her granny panties.
That's the thing.
So some days she would wear the big Coke bottle glasses out, some days not. But either way, if Hannah would be willing to come up here and show how, okay, never mind, how Whitney does this walk in the morning, it's priceless. So anyhow, she would come out, she would make her Dunkin' Donut vanilla K-Cup. She'd say good morning, and then she would go back into her room. That, to me, is loyalty. I could always companionship was really, this was huge. This is how we really bonded. So every weeknight from about 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., and every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, from about 10 a.m. to say 11 p.m., Whitney was in the same spot, on the same sofa, all day long. Right? That was us bonding, and to the point, and it's no joke, on that couch there is a little butt print. We all know that that's Whitney's spot, and she'd be there as our companion all the time. Ability to communicate. She really got strong in this area because she was always kind enough to let Amy know when there wasn't enough food in the house. And she always let me know when I needed to go put gas in the car. So we opened up that line of communication, and it was good. The next one I think is the most important. She had just a total commitment to taking care of her body. When she went out with her friends on Friday night, she would make sure she stayed in her bed all day Saturday and all day Sunday to recover so that she would be ready for Monday, whatever she had to do. Lots of credit here because even if there were chores to do, she did not let that interfere. She stayed all 2 days. These are, by the way, these are true stories. This is not about trying to be funny. This is Whitney. great conversation. This is what we didn't have when Paige and Whitney lived with us because they never shut up. So we never really got to talk. And then when Whitney got home, we had conversations with her. So she shared with us a lot. And at the time, she was doing her student teaching at Cedar Grove Middle School. Don't know if anybody went there, but this is getting ready to go real bad. And it's in either Stone Mountain or Decatur. And she was doing her student teaching there and really looking forward to it. And she shared this with us from Cedar Grove, which is a little different than where Whitney went to middle school. The commute was 1 hour each way, and it sucked. We heard that every single day. The teacher she was working for was clueless. The fifth graders in her class were all packing heat. That was a surprise, and I do think that's true. Random fistfights would break out every day in the classroom. And the teacher, I remember Whitney saying the main teacher would just disappear, and Whitney's in her first week, and there's a fist fight going on, and she's not supposed to be left alone, and they're just duking it out, so she just leaves the room and lets them duke it out. And what she thought was most interesting, a lot of the fifth graders that she taught were old enough to drive their own school to class, to school. A little confusing, but that's some, I guess they're older fifth graders. Friendships, this was one of the neat ones. She met a lot of friends at Georgia State, and one in particular that
Franklin.
One in particular I think of that we heard just about every night was a friend that she made. His name was Franklin. She met Franklin because they were assigned to do a class project together, and when it was due, apparently Franklin didn't do his part of the report. So, being a good friend, she nicknamed him Effing Franklin. I can't tell you how many times I heard about Effing Franklin. Excitement. This was, skip one. Financial planning. Kind of what I do, and she started to talk to me a little bit about it and learn about it, and she got really strong about this when she shared with me that the counselor at Georgia State had made a mistake and she didn't have 2 years left, she had 4 years left. So we did some financial consulting together and worked it out, and she became our roomie for a little bit longer. Excitement. She shared with us that she was excited that this guy from Georgia State Law School asked her out on a date. But she was too busy to go, because she was busy bonding with us and being our companion. But then she was very excited when she finally did tell us that she was going. So those are Whitney's qualities.
Woo! Yeah, definitely.
Is it over 8? All right, when we met Bart, this kind of came up last night, but we finally got invited to meet Bart at Bart's family. Am I going on too long?
You're fine.
You're good.
We got to meet Bart at House Restaurant. Bart brought it up last night. Whitney thought, this is it, it's time. I want the whole family to meet Bart. And so she invited us to the house for dinner. The very sad news was Bailey was busy and Leah was busy. And if Bart survived this dinner, which the odds were pretty small, he still had to face Bailey and Leah. And I would never want to do that. They are
Cheers,
the two
Bailey.
most intimidating people in our house by far. I already felt sorry for Bart, and we hadn't even dinner. So we get to the restaurant, we're all seated, Bart and Whitney come in, and here's what I noticed. Here's what we knew, first of all. We knew that he graduated from college at Charleston and he played basketball. That was a great thing to me. We knew he was a law student at Georgia State and wanted to become an attorney. And we need more of those, right? More I guess. And we knew she met him at Johnny's Hideaway. So roughly 60. Most of them were looking for their fourth wife, some their fifth wife. So that's all we knew about Bart. So we're seated, Bart and Whitney come in, and the first thing I noticed was he wasn't 50. So that was really, really good. The second thing I noticed was he's a really smooth dresser, as you can see tonight. A little preppy, but he just looked smooth when he walked in. The next thing I noticed was how quickly he drank that first alcohol.
Yeah, Bart.
I've seen some stuff, but holy shit, Bart. Whitney had warned us that Bart would be a little nervous, and he was. And when he finished that first drink, I could tell he was nervous because it was like his head was on a swivel looking for the waiter to So, conversation was great. Bart was sitting to my right. I remember it was Amy and I, Hannah, Paige, and her now fiance Brian, who was sort of used to the way things operated on our dinner table. And Bart kept calling me sir. I'm like, who are you talking to, Bart? I go, sir, who's behind me? And I don't know what he was doing. Anyhow, this is the hard part. He gets up. Sorry.
Poor Wade.
He gets up and leaves.
You got it. You got it. Come on.
Amy tells us what she thinks, and she said, Bart lets Whitney's light shine. Take a little more help, because I got another.
Woo!
He loves Whitney for what makes Whitney Whitney. So, thank you. No drinks yet, either. So this is the part where if you Google the Father of the Bride speeches, you're supposed to give some wisdom to your new son-in-law and your daughter. So here it goes. As you all know, this wedding was supposed to be May of next year. And a few months after getting engaged, they found out they're having a baby. I don't know if everybody knows that or not. If not, I just really screwed this up. They found out, believe it or not, they're having a baby girl. Yeah, so here comes the wisdom. I just would like my girls, all of them, out here, please. Are you allowed to stand? Is this all right? Out here, I need you out here, please.
Come on, Bailey.
Here comes the wisdom, Bart. If you're ever sitting around thinking, I'll just try one more time for that boy. This is what's likely going to happen. I have one, this is it, I have time for two. So, we got invited to Monroe, Georgia for a wedding shower, and we learned a couple of things. To me, it's kind of weird that you say Monroe when it's spelled with an O, but I didn't say anything about that. I thought it would be Monroe. But what we did learn is it's not actually Monroe, Georgia, it's Funroe, Georgia. So the shower is ending, and I overhear a conversation, and it's Bart with his neighbor, Mr. Malcolm. Is this right? Yes. And Mr. Malcolm, I didn't ask permission, sorry. He's got his arm around Bart and he said, Bart, and I'm not even gonna try to make the southern drawl, but Bart, you got a lot going on, son. Bart, as I've gotten to know Bart, he shakes his head like this when he agrees. He said, golly, you're getting married, Bart, and you're graduating law school, getting married, taking a bar exam, got to start your first job, having a baby. And I just remember looking at Bart and him going, yeah, like that. And then Mr. Malcolm looked back at Bart and said, Bart, and of course Bart said, sir. And Mr. Malcolm said, don't F this up. So we raise a glass and say to Bart and Whitney, let they always let each other's light shine.